Here is Ed Bear coming downstairs now. Bump, thump, crash on the back of his noggin behind Chaz. It is, so far as he knows, the only way of getting downstairs, but sometimes he feels that there really is another way, if only he could stop bumping his head for a moment and think of it, and if only Chaz didn't drag him so hard by his leg. The bastard. And then he feels that perhaps there isn't. Anyhow, here he is, at the bottom, ready to be introduced to you, Shit the Bear. When I first heard his name, I said just as you're going to say, but I thought he was called Ed. So did I, said Chaz. Then you can't call him Shit. I don't. But you said he's Shit the Bear. Don't you know what the means? Oh yes, now I do, I said quickly, and I hope you do too, because it's all the explanation you're going to get. You don't question Chaz. Sometimes Shit the Bear likes a game of poker or blackjack when he comes downstairs, and sometimes he likes to sit quietly in front of the fire and watch hardcore porn. This evening... What about a story? Said Chaz. What about a story? I said. Could you tell Shit the Bear one? I suppose I could, I said. What sort of stories does he like? About himself. 'Cause he's that kind of bear, hence the name Shit Bear, one of many reasons. Oh, I see. Hop to it then. I'll try, I said. So I tried. Once upon a time, a donkey's age ago, about last Friday, Shit the Bear lived in a forest, all by himself, under the name of Sanders. What does under the name mean? Asked Chaz. It means he had his name over the door in gold letters and lived under it. Shit wasn't quite sure, said Chaz. Now I am, said a growly voice. Then I'll go on, said I. One day, when he was out, walking the manor, he came to an open place in the middle of the forest, and in the middle of this place was a large oak tree, and from the top of the tree there came a loud buzzing noise. Shit sat down at the foot of the tree, put his head between his paws, and began to think. First of all, he said to himself, that buzzing noise means something. You don't get a buzzing noise like that just buzzing and buzzing without it meaning something. If there's a buzzing noise, somebody's making a buzzing noise, and the only reason for making a buzzing noise that I know of is 'cause you're a fucking bee. Or a vibrator, but you don't get vibrators in trees. Then he thought another long time and said, and the only reason for being a bee that I know of is making fucking honey. And then he got up and said, and the only reason for making honey is so I can half-inch it for scran. And then he began to climb the tree. He climbed, and he climbed, and he climbed, and as he climbed he sung a little song to himself. It went like this. Skirt digs power, skirt digs money, clunge is great but I want honey. Then he climbed a little further, and a little further, and just a little further. By that time he'd thought of another song. You thought you were clever, little bees, hiding your honey in the tops of the trees, but when I'm done with this long climb, you better believe it's mauling time. Shit was fucking knackered by this time, so that's why he sang a menacing song. Extortion and grand theft honey was, after all, demanding with menaces. He was nearly there now, and if he just stood on that branch there. Crack! Shit, said Shit, one of the many reasons for his name, as he dropped 10 feet onto the branch below him. Shit, he said as he bounced 20 feet onto the next branch. "Fucking bees," he exclaimed as he turned arse over tit and crashed onto another branch 30 feet below. "Motherfucking bees, stinging stripy bastards," he roared as he slithered very quickly through the next 6 branches. "I'll have you, you cunts," he vowed as he said goodbye to the last branch, spun round 3 times and flew with all the grace of a television being dropped from a motorway overpass into a gorse bush. Bollocks. He crawled out of the gorse bush, brushed the prickles from his nose with a swipe of his paw, and began to think again, and the first person he thought of was Chaz. "Too fucking right," said Chaz in an angry voice. "Yep, that was you." Chaz said nothing, but his eyes got narrow and his face got pinker and redder. So Shit the Bear went round to his boss Chaz, who lived behind a green door in another part of the forest. "Alright, geezer," he said. "Fine, thanks. What's the apps?" said Chaz. "I wonder if you've got a fucking balloon, do ya?" "A fucking balloon? You mean a blow-up doll?" "Yeah and no, not a doll, just a fucking balloon. I just said to myself, coming along, I wonder if Chaz has a balloon about him. I just said it to myself, thinking of balloons and wondering. After all, you got guns and drugs and pirated Sky TV decoder cards and just about anything else I could want." "Why the fuck do you want a balloon?" Chaz said. Shit the Bear looked around to see that nobody was listening. This was a sensitive issue, after all, put his paw to his mouth and said in a deep whisper, "Honey." "Why can't you just want smack like pork chop?" said Chaz, continuing. "You don't get honey with balloons, you muppet." "I do," said Shit. Well, it just happened that Chaz had been to a rave the night before at Porkchop's gaff. There'd been balloons at the party, and off his tits on disco biscuits, Chaz had brought some home, a big green one and a big blue one. "Which one would you like?" Chaz asked Shit. Shit put his head between his paws and thought very carefully. Not something that came easy because he was thick as mince. "It's like this," he said. "When you're snaffling honey with a balloon, the great thing is not to let the bees know that you're coming. Now, if you have a green balloon, they might think you're just part of the tree and never see it coming. If you have a blue balloon, they might think you're just part of the sky, and then you can gank the honey before they figure it out. But which is most likely?" "Wouldn't they notice you dangling under the balloon, you daft cunt?" Chaz asked. "They might, or they might not," said Shit the Bear. "You never can tell with bees, shifty fuckers." He thought for a moment and said, "I shall try to look like a small black cloud. That'll put the shits right up 'em." "Then you better have the blue balloon, and you owe me one," Chaz said, and so it was decided. They both went out with the blue balloon. Truth be told, Chaz was still a little off his tits from the previous night and wanted to see a bear dangling from a balloon. Chaz took his shooter with him, just in case, as he always did, and Shit the Bear went to a very muddy place that he knew of and rolled around until he was black all over. He didn't really care about accusations of blackface. He was also that sort of bear, and that was another reason he was called Shit. Then, when the balloon was blown up, as big as your mum, Chaz and Shit were both holding onto the string. Chaz let go suddenly, and Shit Bear floated about as gracefully as a turd in a river up into the sky, and stayed there, level with the top of the tree, and about 20 feet away from it. "Fuck me, it worked," Chaz shouted. "Told ya," shouted Shit the Bear. "What do I look like?" "You look like a racist holding onto a balloon, you prick," Chaz said. "Not," said Shit anxiously, "not like a little black cloud in a blue sky." "Give me strength." "Perhaps from up here it looks different, and as I say, you never can tell with bees, shifty bastards." There was no wind to blow him nearer to the tree, so there he stayed. He could see the honey, he could smell the honey, but he couldn't quite reach the honey. After a little while he called down to Chaz. "Chaz," he said in a loud whisper. What? I think the bees are onto me. Like, how? I don't fucking know, they're fucking bees, but something tells me they're suspicious. Perhaps they think you're after their honey. You fucking nonce. It may be that. You never can tell with bees, crafty beggars. There was another little silence, and then Shit called down again. Chaz? Yes? Do you have a brolly at your gaff? I think so. Could you bring it out here and walk up and down with it and look up at me every now and then and say, it looks like rain. I think if you did that, it'd help me gull these bees. Well, Chaz laughed to himself. Daft cunt. But he didn't say it aloud because, for his sins, he was rather fond of Shit Bear, and so he went home for his umbrella. Ah, there you are, called down Shit the Bear as soon as Chaz got back to the tree. I was beginning to get a bit wound up. The bees are now definitely suspicious. Shall I put my umbrella up? Chaz said. Yeah, but wait a moment. The important bee to deceive is the queen bee. Can you see which one's the queen bee from down there? No. Does she have a fucking crown on or what? Does she wave to the other bees? I don't think so. If you walk up and down with your umbrella saying, tut tut, it looks like rain, I shall do what I can by singing a little cloud song, such as a cloud might sing. Alright, go. So while Chaz walked up and down and wondered loudly if it was rain, Shit the Bear sang this song. How sweet a smokesome cloud, and float up in the blue, and look down on above, from you and you and you. But now I have the munchies, I see your little nest, give me your fucking honey, that would be the best. It wasn't much of a cloud song, but Shit Bear wasn't much of a singer, or a rapper, or a gangster, or anything else useful. The bees were still buzzing as suspiciously as ever. Some of them left the nest and flew all around the cloud as it began the second verse of the song, and one bee sat down on the nose of the cloud for a moment and then got up again. Chaz, out! Called out the cloud. Yes? I've just been thinking, and I've come to a very important and impactful decision. These are the wrong sort of bees. Are they? Quite the wrong sort. Wasps. So I should think they make the wrong sort of honey, right? I don't think wasps make honey at all. Bollocks. So, yeah, I think I'll come down. How? Shit the Bear hadn't thought about this. If he let go of the string, he would fall, thump, and he didn't like the idea of that, so he thought for a long time, and then he said, Chaz, you got to slot this fucking balloon with your shooter. Have you got it? Of course I fucking have, said Chaz, but if I do that, it'll spoil the balloon that I loaned you, so you'll owe me again. But if you don't, said Shit, I shall have to let go, and that'd spoil me, and I wouldn't be able to pay back your favours. Even though he put it like that, Chaz took a long time to think about what to do next. Finally, he aimed very carefully at the balloon and fired. Bang! Ah, Jesus, said Shit. Did I miss? Chaz asked. You shot me. You fucking shot me. I can't believe you fucking shot me, Chaz, said Shit. Don't be such a pussy, Chaz said and fired again. Bang! This time Chaz hit the balloon, and rather surprisingly the air came out slowly. Shit the Bear floated down to the ground. But his arm was so stiff from holding on to the string of the balloon all that time that it stayed up in an involuntary Sieg Heil for more than a week, which, coupled with the blackface and his clear prejudice against bees, meant Shit was excoriated on Twitter for over a week. And that's another part of the reason he's called Shit. Is that the end of the story? Asked Chaz. It's the end of that one. There are others. About Shit and me, and Porkchop, and Bunny, and all of you. Don't you remember? I've been off my head on recreational pharmaceuticals so long I sometimes forget to remember. That day when Shit and Porkchop tried to catch the Hoffer lump. They didn't catch it, did they? Fuck no. Shit couldn't because he's thick as pig shit. Did I get it? Oh, well, that's part of the story. Chaz nodded. I do remember, I think, Chaz said. Only Shit doesn't very well as he's so shot away. He likes having it told to him again, because then it's like a real story and not just remembering. That's just how I feel, I said. Chaz gave a deep sigh, picked Shit up by the leg and walked off to the door, trailing Shit behind him. At the door he turned and said, I'm gonna go up and do a couple of lines. Care to join me? Oh, I didn't hurt him when I shot him, did I? Not a bit, I reassured him. He nodded and went out, and in a moment I heard Shit, bump, 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 going up the stairs behind him. Maybe it was that, all the blows to the Gulliver from being dragged around, that was the real reason Shit was so fucking retarded. But if he hadn't been, we wouldn't have such good stories.